If you want a good board, you get it from a good shaper. For me, what I want to do in kiting is I just want to ride a wave like I do surfing.
I just love grabbing rail and pulling into tubes on my backhand. I think there's a massive advantage with grabbing your rail. You can get yourself in a really tight little ball and you can push through and fit into, you know, the tiniest of sections. And it also, you know, really gives you the opportunity to really lock into your board and maintain control and composure, you know, throughout tight parts of the wave. Probably the biggest difference between getting barreled surfing opposed to kiting is that surfing barrels, you know, you're not restricted by the kite at all, so you tend to be able to stay in the barrels and have a lot more control, whereas, you know, kite assisted barrels tend to be sort of more short and, you know, like basically get in and get out before you really stack the kite. I like to ride in the barrel hooked in pretty much all the time. I have played with, you know, getting barreled unhooked, but I really find riding hooked in gives you an added advantage of being able to sheet in and out the kite while you're in the barrel. When you're riding unhooked, you're really limited to just the one speed and just doing subtle adjustments. And, you know, like I've definitely had some fun barrels over the years unhooked, but the best ones I've had and the longest ones I've had have definitely been hooked in. And you can see as I'm setting myself up, what I'm doing is I'm looking down the line and I'm visualizing where it's going to start barreling and where I need to pull into the wave. At the same time, I'm also positioning my kite exactly where I need it to be at that point. And that's absolutely key. If your kite is in the wrong position, then it's going to go all wrong. You're going to, you know, once the power of the wave picks you up and starts, you know, running you through the tube, you're going to end up going faster than what your kite's going, and, you know, your kite's going to fall out of the sky. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm edging quite hard against the kite. I've got it at about probably a little bit lower than 45 degrees. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hold all the tension against the kite and let it all go at once when I go to pull into the barrel. Okay, now I've seen the wave is about to break and it's going to start barreling, and I'm, you know, ultimately going to put myself under the lip. So what I've done here is as I've just started my bottom turn, I've sheeted the kite completely out, and the kite's moving in exactly the same direction as what I am. Probably the biggest issue with riding your kite in a barrel is your lines going through the lip of the wave. You are going to come to a point where, you know, the lip just overpowers the lines and pulls the kite in the wrong direction. But it is going to be able to withstand it a little bit. And that's what I mean by riding, you know, like really short, quick barrels. It's sort of more, you know, like more of an in and out. I'm really not going to grab my rail until I absolutely need to, and that's just as the lip's about to come over me. When you grab rail, it's really, really important that you know, find that sweet spot on your board. I basically have all my weight on my front foot, and all I'm doing with my back foot is really guiding and steering my board or making slight, subtle adjustments in, you know, certain directions that I need to go. In particular, if I'm trying to, you know, get a little bit higher up on the wave because it's getting a bit tighter, or if I need to go lower to get a bit more speed. You can see the advantage of riding hooked in here is that I just need to keep one hand on the bar and just slightly sheet it in or out as I need more or less power. At this point, there's a couple of things that can go wrong if you do wipe out or if you do crash your kite. First thing is, if you crash your kite, you could, potentially get tangled up in your lines because you're still moving forward. So what I suggest in that situation is just completely get rid of your kite as quick as you possibly can. Forget about the wipeout, just focus, like everything on unhooking yourself from your bar and just completely getting rid of your kite. If you wipe out and your kite's still in the air, just try and keep it in the air. Like I've mentioned before, I say to myself, fly the kite, fly the kite, fly the kite. If I get to a point where the wipeout becomes too intense and I'm upside down and I don't know which way to pull the kite, then don't fly it at all. A really good way to practice your grab rail technique is just get yourself out on some flat water and, like send the kite downwind pretty fast, and then, just practice leaning down and grabbing your rail and distributing your weight forward and backwards and moving your feet a little bit, up and down the board. That'll give you a really good feel of, what your body technique and position needs to be like. And then you can take that and try it, in the barrel. The final tip I'm going to leave you with for riding backside barrels successfully is you need to do it unstrapped. When you're locked into your straps and you want to grab rail, it doesn't let you move up the board and center your body and distribute your weight evenly enough over the board. When you're riding unstrapped, you can move your feet into any position that you want. Sometimes on really long critical barrels, you actually need to move right up the front of your board. If you're using straps, it's not going to allow you to do this.